Welcome back to what is the last Theatres of Dreams extra time of 2025. With me, as always, is well, at least one Fey festive person and one a person who's well, yeah, he's almost he's we've got the snowman. Okay, Dawn Barr's the snowman. We've got the big FC, and I feel like I'm like the orange that you get in your
Stocking.
stocking, exactly. So I am the nectarine, if you like. So there you go. There's otherwise known as Three Wise Men. Welcome back to the podcast. Our last one of 2025 and our first one since we all met up last week. I actually met Don Bars. He does exist in real life. We had a nice little afternoon out, didn't we?
Is more handsome in the flesh, isn't he, Rodney?
I have to say he's got
Aura.
a yes. Yes. I haven't felt it since I met
That's my
Eric
aftershave.
Cantona in 1995.
It's a David Beckham-esque chiseled. When you actually see me in reality, it's like I'm from Madame Two Swords. Really, it's
Are
you
you,
listen. You're
are
very
you,
honoured.
are you sure it just wasn't David Beckham aftershave? Maybe that's what it was.
Well, yeah, maybe to repel the women, but
My nose is just recovered from that smell of your odor, Mr. Bars, your fragrance odor of the day.
oh, thank you.
But it was actually a really good day out, wasn't it? Or evening out.
Mm.
Yeah, we didn't just talk football either. We actually talked about other things as well. But it was a lovely time. We did a bit of Northern Quarter and a few Guinnesses and a bit of food and a
Yes.
Mm.
catch up. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
It was really good to see you. Now, the question is, has the football been great? How are we feeling as we get to the end of 2025 about our clubs? I've got to say, I'm going to start with you, Richard, because the Salah situation seems to be a bit messy at the moment at Liverpool. Do you think he's going to come back from the African Cup of Nations, do you think?
Well, I think it's improved slightly from the fact that he was on the bench for the last game against Brighton. Uh, but because of Gomez getting injured quite early in the match, I think after about 17 minutes, Salah came on and I think, from what I gather, had a pretty good game. He did miss a very good chance to score, which would have been a nice way to end this recent saga. But he did assist Ekatike, so I think he broke some record for assists or something. But I know I think that's helped him. It's helped the matter by him playing that game before he goes to the African Nations Cup. What happens afterwards? I don't know. I've got a funny feeling this will be resolved. Um, Interesting that he met Henderson, I believe, for an evening meal in London. Maybe picking his brains over Saudi. Who knows? Or as Henderson being a revered captain of Liverpool, maybe Henderson gave him some advice about maybe how to handle this and maybe how he should maybe apologize. I don't know. But then a client reminded me that Henderson, uh, after telling Henderson that he wasn't going to be captain anymore after winning the Premier League, because he maybe would be not playing 90 minutes every game guaranteed. Henderson's left without a farewell. So he left slightly under a cloud as well. I think Henderson. I'd forgotten about that. But there was no farewell to the fans. Klopp just told him after the season finished that he couldn't be captain anymore because he just didn't see him playing 90 minutes every game. So be interested to see what those two spoke about, really.
Dom, is there a City player that you feel didn't leave in the right way because either the player
Ooh.
left or the club messed it up? Because I have this theory that actually clubs are not very good at succession planning like a core business would be. And often it's about the big stars. We had the situation with Keno. It all ended quite messy
Mm,
with
mm.
Keno. And actually, the second time that Ronaldo came back, it was a bit
Mm.
not great. It's just weird that clubs sometimes don't get these things right, especially when it's somebody like a Salah, like a Kane or whatever, who are so pivotal to their success, if you like.
I think one of City's successes to create that dynasty that we've had only bettered, really, if bettered, you could argue. Certainly the bare minimum, the same as United in the 90s with Fergie. I do agree about Keane, by the way. That was always a bit of a shame. But there's always got to be a time when a player moves on. And it's never nice, particularly as a fan. You're more emotionally connected. The players have had a career there. The families have grown up there. So it's never going to be easy. And because we live in this journalesque world that people want to put, I mean, even good old Rich there was telling us what was going on at the dinner table with Henderson. That is how people talk now. And so we all put two and two together, or we'll make it up sometimes. And yeah, you're right. If I was to go back to the recent period of City, like people that left in a cloud, I think there's people that left in an unfortunate way that was not actually to do with the club. So just as a side note, the most disappointing was David Silva, because David Silva never got his fanfare because of COVID. Now, he came afterwards, but what a shame that one of the greatest players ever to grace our league never had a little proper applause, you know? There's been others that have gone out the back door. There's been some brilliant ones who decided to leave on their terms. The best for us is probably Vincent Kompany, who left after Watford's, who did a domestic treble. His last home game ever was his Leicester City wonder goal in the top corner. I mean, that was what a way to leave a club. Or Gundo left as a treble winner with the European Cup in his hand, but then it was announced after. It's when they get announced prior, or that you can see that things are going, like the Salah situation is inevitability because of his age, he's going to leave. Kevin's was a bit strained, wasn't it? Aguero's was, you could argue, was a little bit strained. But I think generally, I don't think, off the top of my head, we had a proper spat that was put into the forum. You know, maybe it happened with Yaya Toure. There's the Joe Hart incidents. But actually, other than media tomfoolery, I think City have generally been pretty good at that for a while. It's more about disappointment of players leaving without it being, you know, it's like walking away from the casino table. You never know when is the right time. And as a footballer, can you get all the stars aligned to go at that perfect moment? You can't.
Klopp mentioned, a client reminded me that Klopp had mentioned in a recent documentary that he found Salah quite an easy player to coach unless he wasn't playing. And that's the problem. Of course, he's going to be happy if he's playing, but any player that isn't playing or starting is not going to be the same player, is it?
It's a bit like, though, a pedigree racehorse, right? A pedigree racehorse is built just to run and race. And they're actually really dangerous in the yard because they're so on edge, you know, and they're so muscular. And these players are of that ilk, you know, they are at the top of their game. They want to be playing all the time. And I think like everything, you know, people don't like to admit that they're aging. And but I do think that it's one of the most important things that repeatedly clubs seem to get wrong is how to manage transition, how to exit, how to even recruit. I mean, I'll take an example. The new guy at Celtic, a guy called Nancy, right? He's come in. They've had 4 defeats in a row after Martin O'Neill had done very, very well, and he looks completely out of his depth.
But interestingly, Martin O'Neill, who had a great little caretaker stint,
7 wins out of 8.
Said he would have been happy to carry on. Now, I've got a funny feeling he might be getting another phone call.
Well, this guy, Celtic have not lost 4 in a row in 67 years, right? And this guy, he looks completely out of his depth. His interviews are not great and not helped, I guess, with his dialect, if you like. But you sort of think, Celtic are a huge football club, right? Regardless of the league and everything. How could you get this so wrong? And Rangers haven't been good about it. United have been awful in the post-Fergie period. I just find it's amazing. You get these organizations that are very professional in lots and lots of ways, pay people lots of money, but the core, if you like, personnel decisions can be so poorly managed, really. I just find it extraordinary.
Dom, you know a little bit about this guy, haven't you? You've researched him.
Yeah, look, we're all, I don't mean to be, I'm not being rude to any of the Scottish football, but it's on the periphery of my following, really. But this guy had a quick Google, because obviously we're all aware that he's lost every game and he's getting vilified as some, idiot basically. Like any manager who's just walked in. There's a couple of things in there. Martin O'Neill is an excellent manager, right? Why that guy hasn't stayed in the game is personal to him, and we all respect it. But actually, he did wonderful things at Villa. He's done things with Ireland. I mean, the guy is a great man manager. He's almost like an old school Thomas Frank type, right? I think he's great, and it's a shame he didn't stay in the game as a coach longer. So number one, he's had big shoes to fill. I think he's way in advance of Brendan Rodgers and Steven Gerrard at Rangers and stuff. So he's probably one of the greatest Scottish managers for a long, long time, and he's coming as a caretaker. So following that's difficult. But then after this guy's come from, I say lower level. He's obviously better than me. He's had a sort of career in France as a defender. So he's playing, and you don't have to be a great player to be a great coach. But he's not played at the top end. He's been in France, and then he's gone and he's made his name in Canada, which makes sense because of the French, and then he's ended up winning the MLS with Columbus. So right. So to be fair, his pedigree on the other side of the Atlantic is very, very good, and he's been at that a while now. But it's all right doing great over there, and I'm not going to knock American. I'm not going to knock the MLS too much, because again, football can be different in different continents, can't it? You just have to accept that. But maybe that's the issue, that he's come over here, he's gone to, and yes, Scottish football is not got the depth, but Celtic is an enormous club, and maybe don't know what he's doing on the pitch. What has he changed to cause 4 defeats? He must. If you're going to blame him, it's something I can't answer, but he must have changed something tactically from what O'Neill was doing, either personnel or the shape. He's either done something, or he's just really unlucky that the opposition have all just turned up, because that can happen too.
Well, look at Notts Forest. Ange Pochettino was disastrous. Sean Dyche come in, completely turned them around.
Yeah, they'll lose some still, but he steadied the ship, and that's what O'Neill is, a brilliant steadier of the shipper type coach.
I think you get Celtic play in Europe year after year, and they have high-profile players in the game, albeit from a Scottish perspective. You get a player who's in that dressing room, and somebody's coming in having managed in America or Canada, and those players are starting to think, what does this guy really know, right? So in their heads already, they're thinking, why should I listen to him? What's he got? He doesn't understand us. And I think the big issue is, if you tinker too much to begin with, you almost need to keep going a little bit with what was there if it was working, and don't tinker too early as a manager. Give yourself a bit of time. Some managers, I think, come in and tinkered far too much, and I think this guy's done a little bit of that. But I just find it extraordinary that these big professional organizations, football clubs, the size of Celtic, the size of United, Liverpool, etc., that they repeatedly get some of the major decisions they've got to do in personnel management sometimes really, really wrong, really. Why didn't Celtic pick somebody from maybe the Championship who's really showing their ability? I mean, Steven Gerrard was very good at Rangers, and it was one of his first management positions. It's somewhere to cut your teeth, but if you know football and he had respect as a player, it was a perfect appointment. I just find it extraordinary, really, really extraordinary. What else has interested you this week in the world of football at all?
I've been quite interested in the fact that Man City seem to be sniffing around Arsenal now. They'll be a bit worried, Arsenal. If it wasn't for that last-minute own goal against Wolves conceding, I think Man City would be above Arsenal on goal difference.
Richard, I think when we get through the Christmas period, we're going to know whether Arsenal can maintain this, or whether they're going to bottle it because of the pressure of feeling City moving back into that position. I think it's a key. The Christmas window is always key, but between those two, I think if you're Arteta, you're thinking, my God, right, they're within a shot of us now. Christmas could be really key.
We've got a good result at Palace away, right?
Yeah, brilliant. 3-0.
Because Palace are a great side, home and away, actually. But, going to Selhurst Park is probably one of the slightly tougher games we've had. So we've had this good run. The only thing I'd say, an air of what we're just watching is when we've gone to Villa and we've gone to Newcastle, potential banana skins, we've slipped up, right? We haven't won those games. We got beaten both. No, it's not been over a course of a season to win this title against Arsenal. Arsenal are not going to lose many games. They might draw a couple too many, but they're not going to lose a lot of games. And so that's the thing that, yes, at the moment, City have got a bit of momentum. Without being disrespectful to the teams we've played, we've got Sunderland at a really good time off the back of 3 days after playing Liverpool away. So we got them on a good day. We've had Brentford in the cup. We've had games that are more winnable. Let's see where we are. We've got West Ham this week, but let's see where we are over Christmas, because we've got, I would say on paper, a couple of banana skins. Now, if we come through them, Arsenal are going to go, because we've got Forest away, who are back on form. And I'm sorry, going to Forest again is a difficult game for anyone. Everyone would look at that and go, okay, you might slip up. And then we've got Sunderland away on like New Year's Day or something. It'll be a totally different game up there. And if we can get through those two games with 4 points, if we got 6, then then I think we are properly in the hunt. But I'm still not fully convinced that we've got the ability to win some of these crucial 6-pointers. However, we did at Palace, and that's a great marker. And the biggest difference, we've gone from Haaland being the only goal scorer, and in this run of wins in the last 3-4 weeks, the goals have been flying in all over the show. Haaland's only got 2 or 3. Only. He's only got a goal a game. But the goals have been flying in from Foden, Cherky. And we've got options. When City have been at the best, when any team's at its best, is when there's attacking options. Doku's out till January.
Is he?
Right now, that would have been really concerning a month ago. But he's out, and it's a shame. But we've
Injured.
we've got these other ballers behind Haaland. So as long as we don't get too many injuries and we can keep fluid, I think we just need to stay close to Arsenal, because we said it right at the beginning. Arsenal's biggest challenge is themselves and their ability to hold their heads together. And the Wolves game shows you that their backsides are twitching already.
I think undoubtedly. I think when we come into the Christmas window, it's so congested, it's so busy. I just feel that 3 points in the table at the moment is nothing. It's almost like they can feel Pep's breath on their neck.
Well, by the way, we haven't mentioned Villa. Villa are right up there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Amazing. Another brilliant manager, by the way.
Yeah,
brilliant.
yes.
And it's great to see another club, by the way. Like, I like the variety. We don't. It's better for Scottish football that Celtic don't dominate. Let's be truthful. We're all backing Hearts or somebody. You know what I mean? Like, we need variety, and that Villa are having this run. I just think that's good for football.
It is. But we've been talking about this all season, haven't we? It's got a lot closer. I mean, if the point spread is not that much between middle of the table to, I guess, 5th place. Really, it's a really tight league this year. Well, let's just go back to the weekend. So you beat Crystal Palace 3-0 away from home. Thomas Frank is in trouble, is he not? A 3-0 defeat at Forest. Now, it's a better Forest these days, but Spurs, you could see him being somebody, if he doesn't have a good Christmas, he could be out the door. Do you not think?
Possibly.
I don't think so. I think... No, I don't think they'll panic like that. They do change the managers a lot, but they're still work in progress. You've got to remember where they finished last season. Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of injuries, to be fair to Ange, a lot. But he's a work in progress. So sometimes they'll do really well, and sometimes they'll have a duff result like that where they just don't show up. It will happen. I think he's going to get the whole of the season at least. If it keeps going downwards, then maybe they would panic. But I don't think any of us would sit here and say Thomas Frank isn't a good manager, and we would all say he was a good signing at the time to go. It was a good move for Tottenham. We just got to back it.
Yeah.
It was a big 3 points for Sunderland against Newcastle on Sunday. It was actually.
Ooh, that was a feisty game.
A Volta made their own goal in 46 minutes.
What a goal! That was the best own goal you'll ever seen. Honestly, it's as if they said it's as if he was, trying to head a goal for his team in the other end. It was a bizarre one.
Well, I haven't seen a game with such a low OG for a long time. There was only 5-6 shots each across the game, of which Sunderland had 5 shots, 2 on target, and Newcastle had 6 shots and 2 on target. That's a really low OG in the game. But yeah, Volta made their own goal, gave Sunderland the points, and those are big 3 points for Sunderland, aren't they?
Yeah, because they just had a little wobble where. I mean, they got a good result against Liverpool away. Got a draw there, didn't they? They've got loads of points. They're doing fantastic. But they just were starting to dip a little bit. I mean, because the league table's so tight, they'd gone from being in the top 4 to down to 9th or something. But that result, Newcastle are an odd one, aren't they? Because sometimes they're absolutely magnificent. On their day, up there particularly, they give us a doing over up there where they were on fire. But then they'll go and get beat somewhere. Again, I don't think Howe's under pressure, but they can't get the consistency, these teams. That's why Villa are excelling at the moment, ahead of them. But you would put Villa, Newcastle in that same category from last season, and quite right now they can't get the consistency at Newcastle.
Yeah, they can't. Villa got a 3-2 win away at West Ham on Sunday. It was own goal from West Ham, and then a brace for Rodgers sealed the game. And Fernandez was on goal strike for West Ham, and Bowen as well. That keeps them ticking over Villa, doesn't it? Really
great result. They were losing 2-1. Go there and get a result. Brendan Rodgers was you can understand why people see him as the first choice number 10 for England, because there's no criticism to Foden or Cole Palmer, wonderful players, all of them. He's just very effective at bursting into the box in that format, isn't he? Great player. Shame City sold him. Remember, he was one of our lads when he was young. He's the one. He's the one that got away. He's the one that we got away. But never mind.
Well, two former Merseysiders were in action and on goal at Brentford versus Leeds. Jordan Henderson and Calvin Lewis. Lewin both got goals to make it 1-1 down there in the day. So I haven't seen that game actually, but interesting those two scored. And then on that was Sunday. I think we've covered Saturday. Yeah, Liverpool 2, Brighton Hove Albion 0. Ekitike on strike. I mean, this was a welcome relief to Slot, wasn't it, Richard?
It was, and Ekitike is starting to look the real deal. Absolutely, he looks just a really good fit at Liverpool. I think someone was saying he's learned from that silly mistake of when he took his shirt off and got a second yellow. He seems to have taken that on board, and great natural goal scorer. I think there's plenty of goals to come from him. Must be tough for Isak watching him, actually, isn't it? Imagine watching him from the bench or the physio room, thinking, "This guy's stealing my thunder."
Yeah.
Who would have thought, guys, that when Isak went across, we all went, "Uh-oh, that's putting Liverpool on another level again."
Yeah, we did.
Wow. And then we were also saying, "Oh, poor old Ekitike, he won't get a game now. He's been sold down a bit like James Trafford in the goalkeeping situation at City."
Yes.
It's a bit like they bought me and then they've gone and bought somebody better. And ironically, Isak looks like he's never played football and is devoid of confidence and fitness and looks weak. I mean, really weak. And Ekitike looks like he's the one through all this Liverpool chaos, probably to be the most consistent player. And for a new player, he's hit the ground running. So I think he's one to watch.
Wasn't he Newcastle that was interested in Ekitike?
Yeah.
So you're a striker for Arsenal. What's the striker's name, Dom, that Arsenal bought, hoping that he was
Gyökeres.
Gyökeres, yeah.
And He hasn't scored that many, has he?
Well, did you see that they won against Wolves on Saturday, but Wolves scored all the goals, two own goals.
Yeah,
So, per Wolves, they score three goals. They still lose 2-1 down after leveling it on the 90 minutes and then an own goal 4 minutes into additional time by Mosquera. So, your luck is down at the moment. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, Gyökeres, what do we make of Gyökeres? Because United tried to buy him and didn't get him. Do you think he's the real deal?
Jury's out. I mean, he did it abroad, but over here, I think. Look, when you go to a big team, and everybody's got this low block, right? I always revert back to when people say, well, Haaland gets all the service and he's just a glorified, goal hanger, and he just taps them all in. I think when then you watch these other lads, you realise how good Haaland is, because he's had to learn and adapt to this. It's really difficult as a number 9 to be marked by 2 or 3 players and have no room. And when these players are signed, they're signed from clubs where they get a run on them, they break on the halfway line, there's more space. Like Isak was scoring goals for fun, but he was running at defenders from distance. Same with Gyökeres. Haaland was doing it at Borussia. They all have that. If you look at all their best clips, they're flying in with defenders stretched. That's not how the game actually is. They're all sitting in low blocks, 2 banks of 5, and you've got to be very, very patient. And sometimes Haaland hardly touches the ball, but scores 2 goals because that's his job. Gyökeres isn't efficient enough for me, and he's not mobile enough to get back to goal, turn, twist. He's not either a little ball player, like, Salah, Aguero type. He's not that, and he's not. They just look like big lumps. I just think it shows levels, and I think they're okay. I think Ekitike right now is off the top of my head. I think he's second to Haaland because he's got it all. He can come in, he can come out. He's confident. He shoots well. He's clinical. So I think value for money, Ekitike's clearly looking like the best buy, isn't he? I mean, Volta at Newcastle. Yeah, they're good players, but I think Ekitike's a really good player.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you not think, though, that big players, I mean, your guy at City is the exception to this.
Yeah.
Sometimes big players can look clumsy. And like Peter Crouch, for example, there was almost a view that he got his goals because he was really tall, right? But as a footballer, was he good on the ball and that type of thing,
Yes, he was, incredibly.
He was, but sometimes like a big brute of a centre forward isn't sometimes given the credit for being a good footballer overall. It's their bulk, their size, their intimidation that they're often credited with. Now, Monday night, I wasn't at Old Trafford.
Oh.
So I went to see the legend that is Robert Plant, ex of Led Zeppelin, and a band called Amazing Grace. I have to say, one of the best gigs, or Saving Grace, sorry, one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
Right, yeah.
Adam took my ticket on Monday night. And I was just out with a mate who's a Liverpool fan for a dog walk, and I said to him, the problem with United at the moment is we either can score goals and can't defend, or we defend and we can't score goals. Because we don't seem to be able to do, good defending and good attacking in the same game, in the same 90 minutes. This game,
8 goals?
8 goals, 4-4, and
tell you what, they nearly sneaked. If it wasn't for your goalkeeper, that was 5-4 would have been. They nearly nicked it at the end.
And here's the ironic thing, right? If you look at 4-4, you might think the goalkeeper's not done brilliantly. He played fantastically.
For that, I think he was at fault for one of the goals, but he did well for that last one because that was, he should have scored really, Bournemouth. But I started watching it. I think Bournemouth were winning 3-2. Then you came back with 2 quick goals. 4-3, I thought,
77-79.
I was cursing United. Then I was happy again because Bournemouth equalised. I thought, But then, goodness me, it was a real humdinger.
And our big thing now is how are we going to manage our lineup with AFCON now.
Yeah.
And actually, I think my personal opinion is it could be a really good time for him to find a way to manage to get Minu in the side and give him a run. You know, as much as we're going to lose Mbemo and we're going to lose, I think it's Diallo, who that's our right-sided attack basically. I think he's going to change things around. There's talk about him going to a 4-3-3, for example. But I think this is the moment where if he can't accommodate Menu in this period, there's no hope at all for Menu. You know.
Yeah.
Can we talk? Are we going to mention his brother's T-shirt?
Oh, Dom.
I mean, come on. Who needs enemies when you've got family like that, eh? Jeez.
Dom, you're going to have to explain to the listeners the T-shirt.
Well, it was basically Free Kobe Manu is clearly a stunt because he's standing there with professional cameras. You know, and you just look and you go, he's standing there as a PR stunt, basically saying, "Pick my brother and play him." You know, and how is that going to help a professional footballer to be given, you know, an opportunity for game time when you're basically just criticising the manager in such a public forum? I mean, if I'm Kobe Manu, he must be involved, I would assume. I can't believe for 1 minute his brother's done that. Well, maybe they are. Maybe he's just thick and he's just done it off his own back and he doesn't realise what he's done to his brother. But how can Kobe Manu play when his brother's walking around in the ground with T-shirts like that and it's all over the press?
Do you know?
It's ridicule.
I said on the podcast on Thursday, it was either that he was trying to be poetic like Nelson Mandela, or maybe perhaps that's the price that we should be selling Kobe for. He's only worth nothing. It was a ridiculous stunt. And with family like that, you do not need enemies.
It's a farce. He's got to go now. Off the back of that, if I'm the club, wherever it's come from, I'm sorry, you're not having that dirty washing in my club. You'd be gone in January, even if he's on loan. If he's not going to play him, he might as well get the wage bill gone and remove him out the building.
But this is the classic thing. What do you do in this situation, Dom? Right? So do you look weak if you play him, right? Or do you let him go because you've got to look strong, but that weakens your overall squad? You're on a hiding to nothing, really.
I would always back your principles. He's not had a kick, has he? Has he even been on the pitch? I mean, I don't think he even comes on. Does he? Is he a sub at best and doesn't even get out of his tracksuit? So he's not playing him. Therefore, he doesn't want him, doesn't rate him. He'd have been on. He'd have had 20 minutes here or there. So that tells you actions tell you everything. So let him go. Let him go. Put one of the kids in.
He came on for Casemiro on 61 minutes on Monday night.
Oh, did he?
But the problem we've got is that I don't think he trusts both Fernandez and Menu in the centre of the park. And it's almost like the two of them are competing too much for the same type of balls, you know. But
by the way, that was a good free kick by Fernandez, wasn't it? It was a good free kick, yeah.
Maybe Mainu's struggling on the fact that you don't have any main European football because you've not got a lot of games compared to other clubs. Maybe he's suffering on the fact that he would be playing more if you were playing twice a week, you know. But I just stand by the fact that anybody that's doing that in public,
shocking.
I'm sorry, you remove that circus. If I'm in charge, you're not staying. And if that means that the team's weakened until summer, so be it. I'd rather have the respect that it's my way or not the highway. But you can't have in the world of media that football lives, family standing there in T-shirts ridiculing the situation. Sorry, see ya. Go on loan. Send him abroad. He'll be the next Sancho.
Yes,
and I actually think he's a better player, a much better player. I think Sancho's a fraud, but I think Mainu's a great player, and I've seen him do things against City in the cup finals and stuff where he's been magnificent. So I do think it's a bit surprising that he's been frozen out as a player. Forget the joke. I think he's a good player.
Can you remind me where Sancho is now?
Does anybody care? I mean, seriously, Chelsea maybe, Villa. Honestly, he's just he's a waste of a squad position, isn't he? Where is he? Is he Chelsea, Villa. We don't even care, do we? Seriously, they don't even come on or do anything.
No. And I wonder why Umare doesn't fancy Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott's been frozen out at Villa. Great player at Liverpool, even though he came on bit parts. But they're obviously not playing him because there's something in the contract that if he doesn't play a set amount of games, he has to go back to the club he came from or something.
If I was
Liverpool,
I'll tell you what. We're not mentioning these guys. I'm going to give you a little weird one here. I'm watching Burnley at the moment getting beat week in 7 defeats on the trot, most forever.
Wow.
But I'm going to put my neck on the line here. They're not out of it yet because I've been watching their games, and do you know what? They've not lost the dressing room. Scott Parker's still got them. A couple of fans were moaning at the weekend, but that's a minority. Those boys are still playing well. He needs a little sprinkle of quality.
Yes.
And if they can get it right in January with a few loan signings, a little bit more quality in the final third, just to stiffen them up a bit, they could easily get a couple of back-to-back wins. And at the moment, they look adrift. But I'm telling you, Burnley are not dead and buried yet. And I'm saying that because I think somebody like Harvey Elliott, if I was Burnley, I would be going for a Harvey Elliott, amongst others, and saying he got a lovely ability as almost a number 10, hasn't he, to make things happen. And he needs game time. And I would be going to take him till summer. I really would if I was a team like that. A Fulham, maybe, or who else is in that area? Anybody in that section?
Leeds.
West Ham.
Yeah.
I've always got this thing about geography. When you live around so many players and you see that they don't want to be in hotels, I just think that Burnley would work because he can stay in the northwest, doesn't need to move house, and he can just go play football till summer. And I think he could be worth 10 points to them if he could get some game time, because I do think he's a decent player. He's just not getting an opportunity.
No.
Anyway, there's a random call. Let's see what January brings. But just keep your eye on Burnley. I don't think they're out of it yet because they've not given up and they're only being beaten by very small margins at the moment.
I think we can all agree that Wolves are definitely going down.
Yeah, terrible, aren't they? What a mess.
Yeah. Rodney, you were talking about the highlights of the years that you want you to bring up. Our personal highlights of the year in football in general. Rodney's frozen there, Dom. So should we?
Do we carry on?
Yeah, you start the ball rolling with that.
Oh, right. So, for 2025, if I had to pick three, should we pick three each? Yeah. I instantly go to the cup final upsets. I thought the Newcastle-Liverpool game was magnificent, wasn't it, in the Carabao in whenever that was, February time? That was a belter.
March, I think.
Yeah. And Crystal Palace beating City. Because those two clubs haven't won anything for so long. I mean, I was obviously there I was there at the Palace game, watching us get beaten another cup final. But if you're going to lose to anybody, lose to a team that's never won anything in their lives. Yeah. And so I think the underdog cup final success is a big one, isn't it? I think for me that's the things that stand out. I think you've got to throw in there on the other side the Salah situation is so disappointing. I mean, we can joke about it as non-Liverpool fans and wind you up, but to have such a great player having such a spat will be something that I do think you'll get past it. And I agree with you that the AFCON's probably going to be helpful because he's come back. They've sort of kissed and made up a little bit by getting a few minutes against Brighton. He'll go away and he'll come back as the Messiah again, probably. But this year, I do think that was an incredibly. Yeah, I think he will. But I just think it's incredibly disappointing that how it's happened. But those would be my things. I think. Is there anything else really that stands out? What have you got, Rich?
Well, Liverpool winning the league, of course.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. We need to celebrate it.
I mean, that was it was a great moment to get that number 20. But of course, after that, it's been tragedy with Diego Jota. tragic, him and his brother losing their life. I think, everyone was completely gobsmacked from all clubs about that tragedy. And then I think I would, those, well, the high of winning the league, the tragedy of Jota, and then I think really the falling off the cliff after 5 straight wins. One of the things of the year is, of course, Liverpool's sudden decline. I think they've turned a corner a little bit, but that's got to be one of the biggest stories, is the peak on the graph to the lowest dip of losing, I don't know, what was it, 6 out of 7 or something? Incredible. A bit like Celtic, but even worse. But I think Slot will I think actually I'm confident now we're going to get top 4. I think the league's gone. But with Ekitike, as we discussed earlier, and hopefully other members of the squad playing better now. Alisson back in goal, big crucial one. I think, I'd like to think we'll get top 4, which is crucial for the club, isn't it? It's crucial for every club now to get Champions League football. This is why United are really, missing out this year. I think, Champions League football is so important now for Premier League.
We're definitely missing out on it at the moment. I think it's going to be interesting to see whether we're in the hunt for that by the end of the season, and that would be a good season. Top 4 would be an amazing season for us, which is
but what if you didn't get European football next season? He would surely would be given another season.
Well, I think you've got a big problem there, though, haven't you? Let's be truthful. Look at what have you got to get Champions League? You need top 4, right?
Yeah.
Going to be honest, no chance for United. No chance.
Do you not think so, Dom?
Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea are way ahead of you. Right, well, Chelsea will lose some games, but top 5. That's your top 5. I'll put my life on that now.
I would agree with that.
That's
Arsenal,
your top 5.
Villa, City, Chelsea, Liverpool.
That's your top 5. I don't know what order. We'll see who can stick at it. I do think Liverpool can get top 4. But actually, I think it's relatively open. It's still very early. We're not even quite halfway. But those are your 5. They're way in excess. But the longer this goes on, without you being able to get to the top table, you're just feeding off the scraps of recruitment all the time, because the lads you sign in, you did very well to get Kuna, because he could have gone to any of them top 5. But other than that, I think Mbeumo's a nice player. He's not winning you a title. We're not talking about a title at the moment, are we? We really need. But you can't get in that 4. You can't get in that 4. You're miles off it, and you need at least 2 or 3 really good windows, because all that happens is Arsenal strengthen, Liverpool strengthen, City strengthen. It's not a criticism. It's just the inevitability that it's been so long trying to keep with the coattails of. Everyone keeps regrouping. Football has eras, but we still don't know when United's going. They will come back. They're too big not to. But when will they?
The reason why I know that's brought you down to earth, Rodney, but with a bump. But the reason I think Dom's right is that you've had a few opportunities recently. You've had a few opportunities recently. If you'd won the game, you would have gone to top on 4th position, but you've thrown it away, and it's that missed opportunities.
Can I just remind you where we are in the league at the moment, though? Yeah, we're on the same amount of points as Liverpool. Our goals for is better than Liverpool's. Goals against is only 2 worse than Liverpool. So we have a goal difference of 4 versus Liverpool at 2. I have to say, I would say that it really comes down to how well we weather the 2 players leaving for the AFCON and how we get through the Christmas window. But I can't allow you to say there's no way you're not going to be top 4 or 5.
No, we're looking at the squads. I think we're looking at the squads.
Too difficult to call. I think it's too difficult to call.
I think we're looking at the squads and the fact that Liverpool look like they've got the ability to turn that around.
What tells you that about Liverpool right now?
Well, the fact that you've got Ekitike ticking, you've got Szoboszlai playing so well. You've got obviously Isak is not going to be as bad all season. He's going to get fitter and he is going to start scoring goals.
Okay, so all that against the fact that you've won 2 out of 6, you've drawn 2, you've lost 2, but you're confident that you're in the right direction.
Dom's confident, so that makes me confident.
Liverpool. I like that. Liverpool. Look, I want Liverpool to get relegated. Let me be really. I want them out of the league just because of the. I just can't stand them.
It's not very nice.
I know. Well, we get told it all the time because apparently we bought everything. But anyway, but my head says, like City last year were absolutely atrocious. We still got third. There's still over 38 games, enough cream on the cake to rise to the top. And Liverpool have just, you're right about those stats, Rod, but this is Liverpool's worst run of results in God knows how long.
60 odd years.
Yeah. So I'm not looking at this blip. I'm looking at 38 games and saying they will win a lot more games than United in this next 20 matches. That's what I'm saying.
But then you look at Chelsea, you look at Crystal Palace, and would you be so confident about those 2 clubs?
No, I just think that all I'm saying is that the top 5, I think, is pretty obvious. I just think there's been 16 games or whatever, and I don't think anybody would overly argue, unless you've got red tinted glasses on, that United are not, unfortunately. And I want Liverpool I want you to finish above Liverpool. Of course I do, but they won't. They just won't. And that sounds really harsh to say it before Christmas to upset you, but. I just what we're saying is that it's so important for United to try to get into. I mean, European football. Have you seen that Thursday night stuff? Crystal Palace should win that tournament. Villa should. Oh, no, sorry, not Villa. That was last year. The depth in our league's really good. So as soon as we go into Thursday night football, I would say that the English teams are hot favourites in all of those European trophies. They should be, right?
If they take it seriously enough.
Exactly. But I do believe that you look at. I just think it's a trophy that clubs should be absolutely pushing for, like your Palaces and stuff like that, and taking it seriously. I just think United, because of the size and stature of the club, its only roadmap is Champions League, and it just can't get on that road yet because the gap is colossal, and it's where the money is. United have got money, but
Rodney, it's a bumpy road with potholes.
It's hard. It's just really hard to get that momentum to get back in there. I think the squad is much better than last year's, but it's still not there.
I would agree it's still not there, but I'm only hoping that my memory is at least capable of remembering this conversation so that we get to the end of the season. It already feels like it should be the bloody end of the season. It's been that long already. But I just hope, because maybe it is my red tinted glasses, but I actually something tells me they can't continue to get it so wrong. As a club, I don't mean just the players, as a club, and I don't know.
I just get that feeling. I'm watching that game the other night when you were 4-3 up. The stadium was bouncing. Minutes later, back to full roll, and you're lucky you didn't lose it 5-4.
I know, but that resilience isn't there at the moment, and we have got a lot of injuries, but this is I think his challenge is how he balances goal scoring and goal defending, because we aren't able to do both in the same game at the same time. We are either the great entertainers or we are the fantastic goal leakers at the moment, and But I take your challenge. I'm just I'm slightly stewing here, I have to say. But I wish I could be slightly more confident than I am. I'm just saying we're 16 games in a 38 game season. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
And we aren't even halfway yet. We get to Christmas. I think when we're in January, guys, I think we'll have a better idea what's going on.
We'll see. I just think that it needs a seismic shift, and it needs something like, in past glory years, your Xavi Alonso, who might be under pressure at Real Madrid, would be touted with the United job, but they're not, are they, at the moment? It ends up being, no criticism of Amarin, players, but managers on the up coming up rather than Galactico names that you would have had in the past. Ancelotti's would have been touted. Bizarrely went to Everton, didn't he? But there's things that Pep will go, and City will, whether we like it or not, unless there's some Vinny Company comes and finds a way of keeping it going, which is probably the betting man's option.
Yeah,
that he will come over at some point, even though he signed this new buying deal, and that's what we're saying about the top table. The shift in power over this last decade or more means that these big managers, not because we're a bigger club, we're far from bigger than United, nowhere near. We struggle to fill our own stadium at times. I get it, but managers and players will go to City and Chelsea because they fancy the chances at winning more silverware in Europe.
Yeah.
And I think it actually comes down to how well they are managed as a business.
Yeah.
And I think City managed to adjust to a modern dynamic of football these days. It's changed, I think they got there quicker than we did. And that's the size of the club almost isn't at some point it's not that important if you run really well and you've got the right strategy for how you're going to run it. And I think teams like City and probably Arsenal have done that better than Manchester United did. And it comes back to our original discussion about succession management. I cannot believe a club the size of United have been so poor at how they have succession managed both players out, but more importantly, how do you replace one of the best managers of the football era, Ferguson? We've had, 6, 7 managers in the last 10 years, something ridiculous. Yeah.
You've tried the big guns. You've tried Mourinho. Yeah,
and it didn't work. It didn't work.
No.
It wasn't a complete failure though either.
No,
you were there. He's statistically, I'm not saying he was a bit Marmitey, but statistically, he got you second.
Yes,
now,
I know.
And I'm not saying that in a patronising way, but because you were so used to dominating football for so many 20 years, that he only got second. But that was because there was not enough credit given to the fact that at that time, Conte had a fantastic Chelsea side. City were this newfound oil money, and we just happened to have spent it well and pioneered the modern game structure of multi-club. We've moved it on and used the money well. Of course, we've had a lucky break. We've won the Euro Millions by getting Sheikh Mansour. But they've gone at the thing that annoys everyone is they've gone and, people claim cheat, of course, but we've just gone and created a dynasty that's not going away. And Arsenal, from as much as I hate them, you got to respect the board for this plan.
Arteta.
It's gone up for 5 or 6 years, and in any other decade, they'd have had a couple of league titles by now.
This brings me back to our original conversation about football. It's in no other business is the metric of just how well you do. Not if you take a retailer, right, it's all about the sales, right? How many sales have you made? And almost the product, the sales justify the product. You could be a very successful football club, but if you're not playing the right type of football, some fans will get annoyed. So the executives might be happy because you're winning, but and there's not many things, unlike sport, where the result is not always just the only thing. It's the way you play, the style, the entertainment, etc. And that's hard to balance, actually. And you realize that that can cause boards to get confused as to who they bring in. The person like Mourinho, who can statistically get you better results, may not be the right personality, may not be the right style for the club. And it wasn't. We didn't like Mourinho. We liked him. We probably liked him more as an opposition manager. But we didn't like him in our club because he made us look bad. He said things that we didn't like. He was too cocky. He was. The results didn't matter because he didn't have our style, if you like, and that's unique to sport. It's unique to football, actually, that you can play, but if you're not playing in the right way, you can win. And you're not playing in the right way. Sometimes actually doing it the right way is more important than just the result alone, maybe.
Well, I'd like to just at this point, guys, we are going to have to wrap this up because I have to do some wrapping up. And I have to do it in the next few hours. This is my golden opportunity. So I'd like to wish you all and our listeners a very happy Christmas.
Yes.
It was lovely to meet up the other week, and we must do it again. And I look forward to, you'll tell us when we do our next one, but we'll have lots of football to talk about. Hopefully over the Christmas period or just after the Christmas period, where we can then see how all this is going. What also was I going to say is, yeah, and we were talking about possibly bringing, hopefully, the odd guest in next year. Negotiations are underway. I've been doing some headhunting and touting myself, so that could be interesting. So, yeah, look forward to it. So.
I'm going to set us a little objective for 2026 is that we all go to a game together and we do the podcast either while we're on the terrace or just afterwards. We go out and go mobile, basically. Well,
maybe the Etihad would be good then, because maybe a few more seats free. Yeah, a bit more room around us.
We'll have plenty of room. There's no doubt about that. Where do you want to sit? Pick your location.
Well, we can use this corporate box. Maybe Richard,
my corporate box. Yeah. We'll have a word with the neighbours, or we could go to. I said we could go to Salford. Salford would be a good one as well. Let's go get some League Two football.
Or Altrincham.
Come to Alty, and we can sample then some of Altringham's delights afterwards. I was sampling them last night, I have to say. It was a good night out. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Merry Christmas, and as we'll probably not talk until the new year, have a good New Year's Eve. Look after yourself, and wherever you're watching your football, however you watch it, enjoy the festive season. Merry Christmas, everyone. See you in 2026.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.